Hi everybody, welcome to Vijayasa Foundation. My name is Manoj Swaminathan and today we are going to learn about a very interesting topic, and that is about black triangle products and the black box warning. So this is primarily for risk management, an activity which is performed by both the European Medicines Agencies as well as the FDA, the US FDA. Okay, let's get started. We'll start off by learning about the black triangle products. So this is also called as the additional monitoring activity performed by the European Medicines Agency. Okay, and if you look at the center, it is, you can see the black triangle, right? So this is how it looks like. Okay, now what can you see here? So you can see some teeth, right? And what are these? You can find some triangular shapes, right? So these are also called black triangles, okay? But then we are not going to learn about this. And generally, in dentistry, the black triangles are treated like this. And then you have a beautiful smile as well after the treatment. However, we are going to learn about the black triangle for medicines. Now, I have a question for you, and also there are three images. Okay, this is the first one, second one, and third one. In terms of medicine, it is always about benefit versus risk, more so for pharmacovigilance. Okay, now tell me which of these are better. The first one, what can you see? Benefit and risk. Second one, you can see benefit and risk, and third one also benefit and risk. Which do you think? Which is better? Think about it. So the answer is the third one. Why? Because benefit is more than risk, right? Benefit is more than risk. So in the first image, risk was more than benefit. Second one, equal benefit and risk. And in the third one, benefit is more than risk. Okay. Now, how about the risk identification and that too between pre and post authorization? So it's all about a favorable benefit risk balance, right? So if the benefit is more, then okay, the medicine is good. If the risk is more, then you may need to even withdraw the medicine, right? Then also about the specified target population. Does the medicine work well in pregnant ladies? Does the medicine work well in the elderly, those with cardiac illnesses, liver toxicities, or even say renal issues, right? Kidney problems, and finally, even for the pediatric age groups, right? So, does the medicine work well for these age groups? Then also, during the pre-authorization phase, not all risks are identified. Okay, that is because you have a limited number of subjects in the clinical trials. Now, what if the incidence of adverse event is something like 1 in 5,000, and you undertook a clinical trial with only 500 subjects? So, it is very likely that you might rule out or miss an adverse event with an incidence of 1 in 5,000, right? So, that is the way it works. And finally, new risks are identified only in the post authorization phase. So, that is why it is very important that you monitor the benefit risk ratio for every medicine. Okay, starting from the day when you received the application and even after authorization of the product. And this activity is done by both the regulatory agency as well as the pharmaceutical company. Now, when it comes to the European Commission, because we are talking about Black Triangle, right? Black Triangle is typically for Europe. So, in terms of safety monitoring, it's there is a European Union pharmacovigilance legislation. Then there is a framework for risk management. Then also there is post-authorization data collection, and finally there is additional monitoring for certain medicinal products. Now, additional monitoring is what I mean by black triangle. Okay, and you would have the symbol on the product. Also, we have a guideline, a dedicated guideline. You're in the GVP or the Good Pharmacovigilance Practice guideline. You have a guideline. You have the module 10, which only talks about additional monitoring. If you want, I can share this link so that it will be beneficial for you. And now you can see this black triangle, right? So this has to be put in the product box, right? The product label and so on. So what is the need for monitoring? Why do you need to do this? Primarily because there are limitations in the preclinical phases or clinical phases, because you have limited number of patients or subjects, and as a result you don't come to know about all the risks. Also, it's of short duration, right? Clinical trials would be for short durations. But what if there is delayed adverse event with certain medicines? So that may get missed out. So that is why again you need to monitor. Then there is also lack of experience on adverse effects. Right? So if the incidence is say 1 in 10,000 and you only undertook a clinical trial with say 500 subjects, then it is very likely that you might miss adverse events. Then also there is exposure in small number of subjects, right? So in clinical trials you don't have too many subjects. Then it also there is less likelihood to detect adverse drug reactions during the clinical and preclinical phase. And finally, the special population, because in clinical trials you might not expose the pregnant ladies, the elderly, the children, or those with say kidney or say liver issues, right? You might miss out on those people, so that way it is important. Now let me quickly talk to you about benefit risk balance. So what is entailed in risk and also on benefit. Okay. So when it comes to risk, it is about what is already known and what is already there in the market. Right? Do you also have another medicine in the market, and also is it efficacious with good safety and uh, tolerability issues? Like then how about the special populations? Uh, Same thing about say elderly, children, pregnant ladies, then those with renal or liver issues. Then how about the safety of the medicine? Then the drug interactions and the tolerability of the medicine. Right. So this is all about risk. Then how about the benefit? How serious is the disease? Classic example is that of COVID, right? So serious, and also less information is known, and then you think about benefit of vaccines. Then the efficacy of the product, right? So whether it is going to be efficacious and benefit the masses. Then the convenience, whether it is convenient to administer the medicine to the population, right? Then do alternatives exist in the market, right? So same thing happened in COVID, where you didn't have any alternative in the market, so that way even it will work. So it's all about benefit versus risk. If the benefit is more, then you approve the medicine, and if the risk is more, you do not, right? Or if the risk is more after the product is approved, you may even consider withdrawing the product. Now I'll give you some information about the medicines under additional monitoring, and also what is there on the product. Okay, so when it comes to the SMPC and pill, in Europe you have something called as SMPC and pill. SMPC is a summary of product characteristics, and you have the patient or the prescribing information leaflet or the patient information leaflet. So you have two documents. So in both there will be something different. Okay, I'll show you. So in the SMPC, you have the lower part, which is that the medicinal product is subject to additional monitoring. This will allow quick identification of new safety information. Healthcare professionals are asked to report any suspected adverse reactions. See section 4.8 for how to report adverse reactions. So this is in the SMPC. And on the pill, you have the above one. That is, this medicinal product is subject to additional monitoring. So the immediately after looking at the product label, you will understand that yes, this product is special. I need to report adverse events. Right? So uh, it's very easy, and this black triangle, it makes it very conspicuous. From even from far, you can identify. Yes, it is a black triangle product. So what does black triangle really mean? That the medicine needs to be monitored more intensively as compared to other medicines, then there is less information already available in the market, right? So you don't know, and as compared to other medicines, very less information is known, probably a new medicine. And finally, it is new to the market, or if it has limited data on its long-term use. So all this information is received, or uh, you understand looking at the black symbol, the black triangle symbol. The ultimate goal of this is yeah, to collect additional information as early as possible to further elucidate the risk and to ensure safe and effective use of the medicinal product. So that is the main reason why we have this. It's all about benefit risk, right? So benefit should be more than risk. So what are the mandatory, or what is the mandatory criteria for additional monitoring? So in Europe, it is for all active substance, the new active substances which have been approved after 1st Jan 2011. So these products need to be additionally monitored. Then even the biological medicines which have been approved after 1st Jan 2011. Then also uh, some medicines which receive conditional approval. So even for them. Then also some medicines that require additional studies because you want to understand the long-term benefit, right? So, or you come across a rare adverse event during the clinical trial. Even in those cases, you want additional monitoring. Then finally, when a medicine has been approved with specific obligations on the recording of suspected adverse drug reactions. Okay, in all such situations, you need to undertake additional monitoring. Now, it's all about transparency. But then before that, what I would like to show you is the website. Okay, so you have a website where the European Medicines Agency website, where you have information about the black triangle products, right? So you can find here. So it provides the complete list of medicines under additional monitoring, and you can also find information about the, or you can even get a PDF. You can generate a PDF, and you will get information on the new products that have been added and new products that have been deleted from this list. So that way, it's a fantastic facility provided by the European Medicines Agency, and the list keeps on getting updated. So almost virtually every month, I would say, or at least once in 2 months, the list gets updated, and you can generate the list in PDF or in Excel. So it is very convenient. Okay, so this is the way it works. That was a classic example of transparency, that the information is published on the European Medicines Agency website and you can get the required information. So what does the European Medicines Agency prescribe? Okay, so there should be a web portal where the list has to be published, and that is what we saw. Then also the individual countries or the national competent authorities, right? So in Europe, you have almost 27, 28 member states. All of them need to have a portal where they need to provide the list of products. Then also the links. So if there is a risk management plan, then there is also a summary which will be available on the public domain. So this link also has to be provided. Apart from this, the communication should be provided to the healthcare professionals and the patients that this product is under additional monitoring, so that they would know, right? So this medicine is not completely studied or under special monitoring, and we need to be careful about it, or we need to report adverse events and so on. Then also the reporting to the uh, regulatory agencies, right? So the European Medicines Agency would also encourage, and at the same time, even the national competent authorities would encourage reporting of adverse drug reactions to these uh, products with black triangle. Now, let us look at this with an example. Right? Example is the best way to learn any concept in pharmacovigilance. and nothing better than coronavirus or the COVID-19 vaccine. So when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine, I'll take a few examples. So it was approved under emergency use authorization, and subsequently some of them got approved, and some of them continue to remain under emergency use authorization. And this is one example from the Pfizer vaccine, okay, and where you have this mark, right, the inverted black triangle mark you can find on the left. So this is from the SMPC or the product label, where you have the sign, and the moment you look at the product label, you'll understand that yes, this product is under additional monitoring, right? So this is the way it works. So because of this sign, it is also easy to identify even from the far that okay, this product is a black triangle product. So I hope you found it very useful. Now what we'll do is we'll quickly learn about the FDA boxed warnings. Now the previous one was about black triangle, okay, and this is about black box warning, right? So like that you have for the US FDA. We'll learn about this in detail now. Now I'll give you some background that this is an activity which is performed by the FDA, where they continuously monitor the products, okay, and if there is a signal in the United States, what is the fate, what can ultimately happen, or what actions can the FDA recommend. It can be first and foremost, it can be the labeling changes, where you would need to update the product label and include the risk identified or the new adverse event that has been identified, or else there can be a boxed warning, and this is what we are going to learn about now, okay, and also I'll show you how it looks. Then there can also be product recalls, that a product may need to be recalled because it's not safe, the risk is more than benefit, and then you even consider recalling the product or even withdrawing the product. That there is a difference between recall and withdrawal. Recall is for a particular batch, right, and withdrawal can be for the entire product, right. The license may ultimately get cancelled. And finally, there can be medical and safety alerts. On a weekly basis, you can subscribe to the FDA alerts and you will get all the information. So these alerts are available from the FDA. Then what is a black box warning? So it is for the most serious adverse event, and it highlights the warnings so that you know that's something you have to be careful about. And also the restrictions for use: don't use in elderly, don't use in children, don't use during pregnancy, and so on. Don't use in, say, patients with liver disorders or kidney disorders. Then there is a black box border, right? So you can see this border, right, the black border. So this is what has to be included in the product label. I'll show you that with an example or multiple examples. So what are the factors that influence the FDA's decision for a black box warning? First and foremost, it is whether the adverse event is preventable through monitoring and intervention. So that based on that, they would decide, yes, if it is preventable, then okay. If it is not preventable, then they can even consider harsh decisions, right? Harsh decisions. Then is the medicine dangerous for specific populations? For example, this medicine is not suitable for pregnant ladies. It can damage the fetus or kill the fetus, or it can cause congenital anomalies. Or else this medicine is only for adults. It is not for children. If children consume, then it can be a poison, right? Or whether the benefits are less than risk, right? So that is, if the risks are more than benefit, then in that case, the FDA would consider a black box warning. And if they are still not convinced, they may even consider withdrawing the license. Then also, if there is any harmful interaction or critical dosing, that if a particular dose is exceeded, then there is trouble, or else if this medicine is given with some other medicine, there can be a problem. So even that can be a factor. Then also, in some situations, you only need special healthcare professionals to administer the product. So even in that case, right? So it should be probably not at home. You should give it in say a controlled environment and so on. So even that can be recommended. And finally, if you need exceptional care for administration, again, a sterile place, right? So any risk of infections and so on, and based on, or it should be only under in the ICU and so on. So based on that, the FDA can recommend. So when is the black box warning required? It is for the serious undesirable effects. Then whether the benefits are worth the risk, to prevent or reduce the frequency of adverse reactions, say not for pediatric use, again that is important. And finally, if the medicine should not be given in pregnant ladies. So in all such situations, a black box warning is required. Now, what is the importance of black box warning? What benefits? This is only for alarming the healthcare professional and at times even the patients. So that is the only reason that you have this black box warning. Now, what information needs to be provided? Very simple and straightforward. It's all about warnings, right? So, danger warning, or say alert or caution. Right? Or you only need to caution them that please look at this section inside the black box. You need to read it very carefully, or I always say religiously. You should remember these points which are mentioned inside this black box. When we look at the example, it will be more clearer. Now, I'll show you quite a few examples of black box warnings. Let me start off with olanzapine and fluoxetine. Now, these medicines are used for depression and also for psychiatric illnesses. Okay? So, in say such situations, there can also be suicidal tendencies, especially due to this medicine. So when you open the product label, right, you can find this in the black box, and that too in the top itself, that this medicine can cause suicidal thoughts and behaviors and increased mortality in elderly patients with dementia related psychosis. So the moment you read that, you understand, okay, so if the patient has to be given this medicine, even the family members will be cautious that the medicine can cause suicidal tendencies. So I should be careful, right? So if you are staying on a high-rise building, in a high-rise building, then you know that you need to keep the windows shut always, right? So suicidal tendencies, otherwise you may lose the patient. One more example is for citalopram. This is an antidepressant. Again, you have a black box warning, and this also talks about the suicidal behavior. Okay, this medicine can cause suicidal behavior, and that too in adults, children also. So even in children, this can cause suicidal thoughts. So that way, you need to be careful about it. I'll give you one more example, and that is about quetiapine, right? So this is a medicine used for psychiatric diseases, right? Especially schizophrenia and so on, right? So wherein this medicine can again cause increased mortality in elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis and also suicidal thoughts and behaviors, right? So this medicine can cause suicidal thoughts and behavior. So you have to be careful about it. So now, if this is put, then the healthcare professional will be cautious, the patient will be cautious, and even the relatives will be cautious, right? So that's the way. Now, these medicines are all related to psychiatry. How about antibiotics? What do you think? Would they have black box warning? The answer is yes. This is an example of ciprofloxacin, right? Very commonly used antimicrobial, right? And in that also you have a black box warning, and this is about serious adverse reactions including tendinitis, tendon rupture, peripheral neuropathy, then CNS effects, and exacerbation of myasthenia gravis. So can you imagine a commonly used medicine and it has a black box warning? Now, one more interesting thing I would like to show you, that is about the uh, diabetic medicine. Okay, and this is an example where this medicine, once it was approved, this is a Janssen product, Johnson and Johnson product. So once the product was in the market, it was found that there were many cases of leg and foot amputations, and that to a diabetic medicine, and too many cases of leg and foot amputations. So based on this, the FDA confirmed that this medicine causes this thing. So we need to have a black box warning. Okay. So this black box warning was introduced that this medicine can cause this trouble. Now, uh, it's all also, you know, that this company which has brought this product to the market, it has done so many clinical trials and everything, and they have spent so much and brought this product to the market. Now, the what the FDA would do is they would ask them to undertake studies to evaluate whether this is really a problem or not. Right? A very simple, say, post-marketing or post-market surveillance study, or say some trial they can conduct and identify or evaluate whether this is really a problem or not. So that's why I would like to ask you now: is it permanent? And I also spoke to you about some studies, right, which the FDA recommends. So this is not okay, and this is not permanent. Now, after the studies were performed by the company, it was found that the product doesn't increase the risk of leg and foot amputations. And based on that, finally the FDA asked or suggested to remove the black box warning. And now the product is in the market without the black box warning. Right? Very useful and interesting. Now, let me ask you this question: which is the most commonly prescribed or consumed medicine in the world? Any medicine, okay? Not specific to a particular therapeutic area, in general. Okay? Can you guess? It is paracetamol, right? Or acetaminophen. It is called acetaminophen in the United States, and in other countries we call it as the paracetamol. Okay, so yes, what do you think? Does this medicine require any black box warning or something? Is this required, or any warning is required? What do you think? Probably next time when you buy this medicine, and if you have that strip or you have that box, then please read it carefully. Or if you even purchase a syrup containing paracetamol, please read it carefully, and you can find a warning that this medicine can cause liver failure. So something very, very important. And I'm talking about something from 2018, where the FDA drug safety communication, uh, it mentioned that prescription acetaminophen or paracetamol products to be limited to 325 milligram per dosage unit, and box warning will highlight the potential for liver failure or severe liver failure. Can you imagine such a commonly used medicine, paracetamol, right? And you have this black box warning there as well, right? So this was something from 2011, not 2018. I'm sorry. So this was from 2011, and it continues to remain. Now, why I'm telling you this is because when you talk about paracetamol, it may be present in combination with other medicines. For example, if somebody has got something like a muscle sprain or a muscle spasm, then in that case they may take some medicine which has got say chlorzoxazone, diclofenac, and paracetamol. And if they have fever, they may even take a 650 milligram paracetamol. So though they won't understand which medicine has what, and in that case they may end up with overdose, right? So which can lead to toxicity, especially the liver toxicity, and that can damage the health. So that is why you have to be very careful. And next time, if you are taking paracetamol, you know that you are taking it for fever. And additionally, if you are taking anything, be it a syrup or anything, please make sure that that does not contain paracetamol. And if it does, then please leave a gap, or you monitor the daily dose for paracetamol that day. So that is the way you can protect yourself. I trust the topics were useful and interesting. So again, I would like to repeat, black box warning is for FDA and black triangle is for the European Medicines Agency. Okay. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, comments, or even suggestions. Thank you.